Please read the instruction book thoroughly before using this machine. This is the Salton Pasta Maker. The first step to making fresh pasta is becoming familiar with your machine. First, to disassemble the machine, take off the cover by lifting up the front latch. Next, lift the extruding chamber cover straight up and out of the machine. Now unscrew the two front knobs, turning them in a counterclockwise direction. To remember which direction to turn, think right, tight, left, loose. You then lift off the metal faceplate. If there's a die on the machine, take it off. Remove the extrusion chamber by pulling it straight forward. Now the mixing arm will slide straight out. Now remove the mixing bowl. Before making pasta for the first time, it's a good idea to wash all the parts in warm soapy water, or run them through the dishwasher. Just keep them away from the heating elements. Usually the top shelf is fine. To clean the base, wipe it with a damp cloth. Never put it in water. Now we'll show you how easy it is to put the machine together and make pasta. First, slide the mixing bowl snugly into the base of the machine. Notice that the opening in the back of the bowl fits around the square motor socket in the base. Now take the mixing arm. Notice the square end? Slide the arm into the bowl and fit the square end into the socket. And remember, please read the instruction book thoroughly before using this machine. Now look at the extrusion chamber. The U-shaped piece fits over the mixing arm, and the square indentation fits the notch on the mixing bowl. Put the chamber in place. Now choose one of the dies. Notice the die has a small notch that fits the indentation on the mixing chamber. Fit the die onto the pasta del giorno. Now select the metal faceplate. The plate fits with these curved edges down. Hold the extrusion chamber with one hand and slide on the faceplate with the other. You may need to wiggle the faceplate a little until it fits flush against the base. Now, while holding the faceplate with one hand, pick up the knobs and screw them halfway onto the alignment rods. Then tighten both knobs evenly so that the faceplate fits flush against the die and flat against the base. Be careful not to over-tighten, or the knobs may be difficult to remove later. Now, put the extruding chamber cover in place, making sure the mixing blades are not in the way. This is the mixing compartment, where you'll add your pasta ingredients. To put on the cover, slide the two tabs on the back of the cover into the holes in the base and lower it. To snap it into place, put your thumbs on the top corners of the lid and push down and back. Notice that the cover has a pouring slot for adding liquid and another for adjusting the flour. The cover also works as a safety device. The pasta del giorno will not turn on unless the cover is in place. However, always use the switch to turn the machine on and off. Now you're ready to make pasta. Now that you have a pasta del giorno, pasta making is simple. You can make delicious pasta with ingredients you probably always have in your kitchen: flour, eggs, oil, and water. You just add flour and eggs, and the pasta del giorno mixes and kneads the dough and extrudes it into fresh pasta, ready to cook. You can use all-purpose flour, semolina, or even whole wheat flour. Add water or eggs in water. Once you become familiar with your pasta del giorno, experiment with different flavors. Add pureed vegetables to make healthy, delicious, beautifully colored pastas. Or even make a sweet dessert pasta. Add cocoa and some sugar and serve a hot chocolate pasta with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. The pasta del giorno is a fun machine. First, we'll make a tomato semolina pasta using a prepackaged pasta flour mix. The best pasta is made with semolina. Semolina flour is usually mixed 50-50. It is available in many supermarkets and is often sold as pasta flour. The pasta del giorno comes with 7 dyes for different shaped pasta. You can make fettuccine, vermicelli, linguine, lasagna, macaroni, ziti, and of course, spaghetti. We've also included another 4 dyes. One for gnocchi, those wonderful nugget-shaped dumplings, as well as ones for cookies, breadsticks, and bagels. One trick that helps the pasta to extrude more easily is to warm the dye in hot, but not boiling water, for a minute or 2 before putting it on the machine. We've selected the fettuccine dye. The pasta del giorno comes with this special container for measuring flour and liquid. See how it's marked in both milliliters and ounces? We've provided these exact gradations so that you know how much flour and liquid you're using. This is very convenient if you want to make an amount different from our batches, or if you misplace your container. For instance, the container holds about 2 cups of flour and makes 12 ounces of pasta, enough for 2 people. If you're serving 3, you can easily add 3 cups of flour using your own measuring cup. The measurements are in a chart in the Pasta del Giorno recipe instruction book, so you can always get consistent results. Here's how you make a batch of tomato semolina pasta using a prepackaged pasta flour mix. First, make sure the extruding chamber cover is in place. Then, pour the mix into the mixing compartment. And remember, please read the instruction book thoroughly before using this machine. Now, replace the lid. Now we'll mix the liquid. First, add an egg to the pasta del giorno container or any liquid measuring cup. Our mixes and our recipe instruction booklet list precise amounts, so if you like, you can use an ordinary measuring cup. Now add water. The mix calls for 2 ounces and a teaspoon of oil. Olive oil will taste best, but any vegetable oil is fine. The oil improves the texture and flavor of the pasta. Now beat the egg, water, and oil together. Turn on the machine. Add the liquid about a tablespoon at a time through the pouring slot. Wait a few seconds after each addition until the liquid is absorbed into the flour before adding more. It should take a full minute or more to add the liquid, and the pasta should mix for 3 or 4 minutes. You can watch the dough through the clear cover to see when it's ready. The amount of liquid will vary with the type of flour, how densely you pat it, and the weather. On rainy or humid days, the flour will have absorbed moisture from the air, and you'll need less liquid. Fresh pasta dough will be much drier than you might expect. Do not trying to form a ball of dough in the machine. When the dough is ready, it will be a crumbly-looking mixture with moist pea or peanut-sized pieces. Continue to add the liquid until the dough is ready. This will probably take all of the liquid. However, it's a good idea to stop when you still have a few tablespoons of liquid left and check the dough. Remember to always use the switch to turn the pasta del giorno on and off. This is perfect. See how the flour is mostly mixed in and the dough is formed into small pea-sized pieces? When you pinch it, the pieces hold together, and you can feel just a hint of moisture. If you're not sure of the texture, close the cover, turn on the machine, and let the dough mix for another minute or 2 to make sure the liquid is thoroughly mixed in. But what if the dough isn't perfect? You may need to adjust your dough. Adjusting the dough is easy. If after you've added all the liquid the dough is still too dry, add a little water. If it's too wet, add more flour. Simple rule to remember when adjusting is to add liquid 1 teaspoon at a time and add flour 1 tablespoon at a time. This dough is too dry. See how floury it looks? When we pinch it, the pieces don't hold together and it feels dry. To correct it, we add a little water. Add about a teaspoon at a time, making sure each bit is thoroughly mixed in before adding more. Always add water a little at a time. It's easy to add more. This dough is too moist. Notice the large walnut-sized pieces of dough. They're beginning to stick to the mixing blade. Add flour about a tablespoon at a time while the dough is mixing and check the dough. And remember, please read the instruction book thoroughly before using this machine. The dough is now ready to extrude. Make sure the mixing arm is below the extruding chamber cover, and then lift the cover out. Replace the cover and turn on the machine. In a minute, the pasta will begin to extrude. The mixing arm may slow a bit as the pasta enters the extrusion chamber. This is normal. When the pasta first begins to extrude, it may come out slowly. This is normal. It will speed up as the extrusion chamber warms. As the first strands of pasta emerge, it may not look completely mixed. That's because the last bit of mixing and kneading is done as the dough compresses passing through the extrusion chamber. So the first few inches to extrude are not fully compressed. Turn off the machine, cut them off, and add them back into the mixing bowl. Notice the fresh pasta passes in front of the built-in dryer. That helps to dry the pasta and keep it firm. Cut the pasta to any length you wish. Just slide a small sharp knife quickly down against the extruding die. This beautiful pasta is now ready to cook. Remember, fresh pasta cooks in only a fraction of the time of dried pasta. All these pastas will take between 1 and 5 minutes to cook. The best way to clean your pasta del giorno after making pasta is to remove the knobs, faceplate, die, and extrusion chamber. Then remove the small piece of dough from the end of the mixing arm. Take off the lid and let the machine sit. In a few hours, the dough will have dried and will easily fall off. You can then wash the pieces. The easiest way to clean the die is to wait until the dough dries and then tap it on the counter. If you want to clean it quickly, use a toothpick to push out the small bits of dough. Another trick is to put it in the freezer for a few hours and then tap it on the counter. What if you start to extrude when the dough is too dry or too wet? You can still adjust the dough by adding a bit of water or flour to it. Just cut off the first few inches that extrude and add them back into the mixing bowl. If you've added more water and the dough in the machine is now fine, but the first bit of dough is so dry that it jams the die and won't extrude at all, take off the knob, faceplate, and die, and remove an inch or so of the compressed dough from the extrusion chamber. Put on a clean die, replace the parts, and continue. The Pasta del Giorno recipe instruction book has detailed directions taking you through each step of making pasta, as well as recipes using all-purpose flour, semolina, whole wheat flour, spinach, tomatoes, bell peppers, garlic, and more. Our booklet also has a collection of delicious recipes for serving your fresh pasta. We have traditional dishes like marinara and garlic and olive oil, as well as a less traditional broccoli and chicken and spicy sesame noodles flavored with toasted sesame oil and soy sauce. We also have recipes for elegant cookies, crisp breadsticks, and baked cheese-covered gnocchi. Now you have all the information you need to make gourmet pasta. We hope you enjoy your machine and use it often. So use different flours, flavoring ingredients, and combine them with different shapes. And every day you can have a new pasta del giorno. Mangia.